Well. Everybody hear me okay? Welcome to the live stream. Johnny Law's second attempt, new software. And thank you guys for being here. Well, as you know, big news day today. The affidavit was released. I was following kind of Brian Inton because he was live at the courthouse. And he got access to the affidavit, started tweeting little sections of it, and then obviously the affidavit came out. So I thought I would jump on along with a couple other YouTubers and go over it with you guys from an investigative standpoint and maybe answer some questions that you may have. So bear with me. I'm going to try to go over this and try to monitor comments at the same time. So as long as everybody can hear me, I am good to go. Thanks, Brandy. I'm glad that it sounds okay. And I'm going to turn the volume up just a little bit. Perfect. All right, let's get into this affidavit as we know it. So let's go and share the screen. All right, hopefully everybody can see that fine. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, hopefully here, so you guys can see it. All right. So Brett Payne obviously is employed by the Moscow PD. He is the one writing this search warrant, and based on the probable cause that he kind of developed over the investigation, a lot of things are coming out on this that obviously I've talked about before, and we're gonna get into that. So they got the call. They respond to the house. They enter through the bottom floor of the north side of the building. Now, I'm going to bring up something here, so bear with me because I got some overlays here. I think it's this one. All right, maybe not. Let's go over this. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go. They're going in. This is a video that I did a while back that you guys have probably seen on where I cover the house. So what he's talking about is going in through this section of the house, right through here, right? So he says he goes into the bottom floor, north side of the building, and they walk up to the second floor. So they're walking up here to this stairway. This is bottom, and they're going to come up the stairwell here. If that makes any sense, okay? I later learned, and then he learns that that's from after he follows up on the investigation that room is Zaina's bedroom, which is on this diagram is going to be called 1B, okay? So he goes into there, and he notices that there's a bathroom with a door on the south side, which would make sense because if we orientate this, here's my little orientation map here, just so I'm clear on which way they're going because it's upside down on my diagram here. So he goes into this bedroom here. He sees Zaina on the floor, laying on the floor, and also she has a bunch of wounds on her appear to be caused by an edge weapon. And he also finds Ethan Chapin on there as well in that same room, which is kind of what we thought that he was sleeping with her in that bedroom, that's where that was going to be. Now, on the first video, we also talked about these two bedrooms being the two survivors. They said the two survivors were found on the first floor. Well, one of my sidekicks, Holly True, which is on here, we talked about it, and she had shown me some evidence that one of the survivors may be up in this bedroom because there was stuff on the wall, so on and so forth. I looked at the pictures, and I totally agreed with her. And I talked about that in my video, that it's possible that the other surviving victim was up on this floor. So let's keep going. So they go up to the third floor. So second floor, there's some stairs here. There's a kitchen area right here. They go up the stairs. I'm going to continue up to this part right here. This is the third floor. They come up these stairs and they hook around, and now they're on a platform. All right. So he says, go to the third floor, consisting of two bedrooms, one bathroom, which is what we thought. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later to be turned to be Kaylee's. That is the west side. Let's look at our diagram here, west side. Okay, and I had on here Kaylee's, which we talked about. I later learned that Officer Nunes, I'm sorry guys, I'm not looking at your comments here. Sorry, I am trying to do two things at one time here. So Zaina, in case I was mistaken, Zaina is on the second floor, 2B, right here. Sorry about that. I was one floor off, but yeah, we're on the second floor here. 2 is second floor, 1 is first floor. All right, now we're back to the floor. Sorry about that. I'm zooming in so I can't see the whole diagram. Anyway, so here we go. We are on the third floor. So he comes up the first floor. Zaina and Ethan are found in this bedroom here, and nothing is found in this bedroom here. So they go up the stairs, and now we're on the 3rd floor, which is Kaylee's bedroom. They noticed that. I learned from Officer Nunez's body cam there was a dog in the room. So Kaylee, there was a dog. Everybody was talking about the dog in this room. But this is where apparently the dog was found. All right. So the dog belonged to their ex-boyfriend. We kind of knew that, and Jack, and that they shared the dog. There's a small bathroom on the east side of the 3rd floor. This is the bathroom here on this side here. And the bathroom was shared by Maddie and Kaylee right here. So they enter this bedroom here, 3A, Maddie's bedroom, which we kind of thought was Maddie's bedroom because there was an M in the window and some other evidence that this may be her bedroom. They enter the bedroom. They see 2 females in a single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. Depending on where the bed was laid out, we saw some photos that kind of had that was laid out. The sheath later processed, had a K-bar USMC and United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on it. So that is what I talked about in one of my first videos, which was this knife right here. This is the exact knife that I talked about in my first video. How do I have this knife? I was in the United States Marine Corps. All right. I was in there I served 2 tours during Desert Storm. So they found not the knife, but this sheath, USMC logo stamped United States Marine Corps. Now, what did they find on this? The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, suspect profile, left on the button snap of the knife sheath. This part right here. This is how you clamp the knife. When you put the knife back in the sheath, this wraps around, and look what that does. It leaves a lot of touchy DNA there. So you have to push that to lock this knife. It's you can probably hear this button when I put it closed. It's a very, very tight button. All right, so suspect leaves sheath at the crime scene. All right, I'm going to try to get over here to some comments. Thank you, Brandy. Sorry about that, guys. With the 1st floor, 2nd floor thing, I got kind of, I zoomed in and missed the floor. Hey, Johnny, what is this? 3rd tour? I don't know what that means. Hooks? Totally sickening. Yes. Yes, Holly, thank you very much. I did include the wrong floor in there. Yes, thank you, guys. I'm glad we're on the right floor. I think everybody knows what I meant. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. Let's keep going now to more of the affidavit. All right. They do a bunch of interviews. I'm going to actually shrink this down just a little bit so I can actually see the comments. Numerous interviews conducted by Moscow police. They do some interviews of the roommates that were inside the residence at the time of the homicide. And their bedrooms were located on the east side of the 1st floor of the residence. All right. So we know that one of them was on that one floor. Yeah, my keypad's not working. That here was one. Here was the other witness on that room. All right. So let's keep going. Based on the interviews, I've learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, they were at the Chai House, University of Idaho. I'm going to kind of skip over this because we know a lot of that. Approximately 9 p.m. to 1:45 a.m. on the 13th. They returned to the King Road residence, and that Chapin did live there. We kind of knew that as well. They were at the local bar, Corner Club. We knew that. They returned 1:30 a.m. They can be seen on video at the local vendor called the Grub Truck. We knew that. And I was at Main Street in downtown Moscow. They had the live stream of that. We kind of know that, and that a private party gave them a ride to them back to the house, to the King Road residence. The witnesses also made statements that during the event, they indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 and asleep in the rooms by approximately 4, with the exception of Kernodle, who ordered DoorDash. I don't remember that specific fact, but I may have. I don't remember ever talking about that. So they got the DoorDash. They went to sleep, and then a witness that was on the second floor, she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. Now, where was she? Second floor. Make sure I'm on the right floor so you guys don't fry me out here. Second floor. Good, I'm here. She's awoken in this room, directly below 3A. Okay? Below Maddie's room, directly below is 2A. So she's awakened at that time. By what she stated, sounds like Concalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which is located on the third floor. A short time later, she heard who she thought was Concalves saying something in effect is, there's someone here. A review of the records obtained from a forensic download of Cronodal's phone showed that she could have been, that this could have also been Cronodal, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake using TikTok at about 4:12. Witness says she looked out of her bedroom, but did not see anything. She heard a comment about someone being in the house. She stated that she opened the door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Cronodal's room. The witness said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Not good. That's, she's obviously hearing that as well. Question. Why didn't Ethan make a noise? I don't know. I don't know yet that they've talked about the order in which the homicides occurred. It's not in this affidavit. That may still be investigated with the forensics as well. Let's see. Yes, it's the witness's room. Yes. Holly did think that was her room for sure. All right, let's keep going. So, okay, who else? Somebody made a 3D tour. All right, that's great. Let's keep going. So, let's see. Approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately northwest, picked up a distorted audio, what sounded like voices whimpering. So 1112. Let's take a look at 1112 on a map here. All right, so 1112 is where on this map? Let's see if we can find it on this map. 1112. Anybody see it? Maybe I'm zoomed in too far. 1119, 1122, 1112, 1118. Is this it right here? I don't know. Can you guys, anybody see that? So anyway, it's pretty close to here. Somewhere in here. Here's the house. Maybe it's 112 something. Do I not have my glasses on? 1126, 1118. Oh, 1122. That's 1112. I don't know. I don't see the house here. But anyway, let's keep going because it is pretty close to that. In order to be able to hear that. All right. So they heard a distorted audio which sounded like voices or whimpering following a loud thud. Dog could be heard barking numerous times. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west side of Cronodal's bedroom. So people that said, that, why didn't the dog bark? Nobody could hear the dog. What's up with that? Well, the dog did bark. We were just waiting for those facts to come out based on the interviews. And I think I talked before about there's no way to know if anybody heard the dog barking unless you interview the witnesses or the neighbors and not assume. Yeah, Brandon, I need to get the readers out. I got it zoomed in, so I'm good for right now. The witness stated, yeah, that's true. That's true. Across the street to the left. All right, somebody said across the street to the left. Okay, 1112. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the witness stated she opened the door a third time, heard the crying, and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Witness described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not being very muscular, but authentically built with bushy eyebrows. Male walked past the witness as she stood in a frozen shock phase, and he walked back towards the sliding glass door, which is where I am assuming, and investigators are assuming, that this is where the murder left the scene. Okay. Let's go to the statements. Small house. Yes, it is. All right, let's keep going. Combination of the statements, forensic downloads of records from their phones and video, a suspect video described below leads investigators to believe that the homicide has occurred between 4, and 4:25 a.m. During the crime scene processing, they found a latent shoe print, which was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISB forensic team by using presumptive blood test and amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. Detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern, similar to a pattern of Vans type shoe, just outside the door of the witness, which is consistent with the path of travel. So amino black's a spray. It's kind of like luminol, but it's got some different chemicals in it. And the way you photograph that is if you're going to spray this material down on a floor, let's say, that's how you're going to find some evidence, right? You're going to take the spray, or you're going to have a camera set up. Usually it's in a darker environment because you need this thing to fluoresce. So they'll have a camera on a tripod. They'll have some areas be ready. They'll spray. If they see something illuminate with amino black, they'll get the camera over there and they'll start taking pictures. That's with different kind of chemicals. The amino black tends to stay around a little bit longer. So they're able to identify a latent footprint, take a photograph of that, and then take that and process it from there on out. All right. So let's keep going here. All right. Which is phenomenal, which is awesome, good work. So now they have something to compare it to. Part of the investigation. I'm just going to go check the comments right here. So did the roommate go back to sleep after murder exit? This doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know why a phone call wasn't made. I don't know. I mean, listen, this is a probable cause affidavit. This is going to be the detailed police report, which may reveal a lot more because I don't think investigators stopped at that question. Remember, this is just a probable cause affidavit, enough to get an arrest warrant. So the police reports are going to be hundreds and hundreds of pages. This is a 1% of just enough probable cause to tell a judge, listen, this is my probable cause. These are kind of all the factors that I've kind of got into. Please give me an arrest warrant for a murder. It's not going to be the detailed report. So just bear with them. I'm sure there's more to the story. Okay. Let's check the comments right here. All right. Thank you guys for the likes. I appreciate the likes and the shares. I really do appreciate that. All right. We're going to keep going here. Part of the investigation, extensive search, commonly referred to as enforcement as video canvas. Chief talked about that he's going to try to, he reached out to the public. If you have any kind of video evidence, get that. So they did a bunch of that. And they wanted to obtain any footage, of course. And this resulted in numerous videos that the investigators got, which we were hoping that they would get. Now, they didn't reach a ton, but they did say they need that kind of stuff. Okay, you guys are talking, which is good. All right. A review of the camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter is suspect vehicle number 1, was observed traveling westbound on the 700 block of Indian Drive in Moscow at 3:26. And westbound on Steiner at Idaho State 95 in Moscow, approximately 3:28. In this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Review of the footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle number 1 starting at 3:29 ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle number 1 make the initial 3 passes by the residence and then leave via Walanita Drive. Now, I think Walanita Drive, I'm going to see if I can find it on my map. I believe that's, let me pull this up here so you guys can see this. So this is Walanita Drive right here. Kind of runs, here's the house here. So Walanita Drive runs up this way. Excuse me. So you can come out of the driveway, hook a left, hook a right on King, and then hook a left. And looks like Taylor turns into Walanita Drive. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Vet Girl. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. I'm sorry about had something in my throat here. Okay, so that is where we'll need to drive, just for your reference. All right. All right. Let's go back to the affidavit. Based on their experience as a patrol officer, this neighborhood is very limited number of vehicles to travel the area during the early morning hours. Now, you got to realize, if this guy's on patrol and he's worked there, I worked in a small city before going to a big sheriff's office, and the roads that are busy and heavily traveled. You know how many residents are down there and about what time and who should be there and who shouldn't be there. So I definitely can get behind him on this statement that doesn't really match. I caught a guy that stabbed a cop one time, and I sat on a road that was very, very rarely traveled, and the suspect got called for a ride and his girlfriend came and picked him up. And I knew for a fact at 1:30 in the morning, there's only one house on the road and there shouldn't be any vehicles on it. When I saw a vehicle, I knew it was him. So this guy had a good sixth sense about his hood and where that's going to. All right. Let's keep going, shall we? Let's see. Suspect vehicle can be seen entering the area fourth time at approximately 4:04 a.m. A fourth time. You see driving eastbound on King, stopping and turning in front of 500 Queen. 500 Queen is pretty close to, I know Queen runs kind of in front of the house, but 500 Queen, I'm not really sure. I'm assuming it is probably somewhere, this is 716. So maybe they're thinking, unless 500 Queen is up in this area here. But he's seen driving and making turns around Queen and doing some more three-point turns. So this guy is definitely in the area. Definitely in the area. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. Then continued to the intersection of Queen and King, where it can be seen completing a three-point turn, then driving eastbound down on Queen Road again. So this guy's definitely casing this place, getting ready to do the unthinkable. All right. So the vehicle is seen departing the area of King Road at approximately 420, high rate of speed. Next observed traveling southbound on Wallanita, which I just showed you, kind of that way. And then based on his knowledge of the area and review of the camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame. I believe the suspect vehicle likely exited the neighborhood on Palusa River Drive and Constanoa Drive. I don't even know if I can pull that up for you guys, but I'm not even seeing that on the maps here, because Wallanita goes way down. But you guys can Google map that and get a little bit more sense of how that's laid out. All right. So he believes that they exited that way, and then he proceeded into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the roads lead to Pullman, Washington, which is where obviously he was staying. All right. Just checking the comments real quickly here, that I don't miss anybody. You guys are doing a great job talking to each other, so keep it going. All right, and then let's see. Pullman, Washington is 10 miles from Moscow. All right, we kind of know that he went there based on reports, and he was a student there at the college, so on and so forth. Law enforcement officers, so more of the probable cause. Now they're starting to build a case. Let's see. The question is, can I give a likely sequence of the killings, please? I can't do that. It's going to be based on the commingling of blood and if whatever investigators found on the knife wounds and the injuries, and if there's commingled blood from one victim to another, and they're going to have to trace that down. I could never surmise that. It would be just conjecture on my part. Sorry. All right. Let's keep going. All right. Comments are good. So law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle to forensic examiner of the FBI. So the FBI examiner starts looking at it. He's got 35 years of law enforcement experience, 12 being in the FBI, and this is what the specialty of those guys do, right? They That's all they do is vehicles and clean up video, clean up photographs, and try to figure out make, model of cars. This investigator came down to 2011, 2013, and then he said further investigation, it could be 2011 to 2016. So now there's a broader range of vehicles. So I'd done a video that I'll kind of link up here where I talked about how to find this car based on the information that they have. So you guys can check that out if you'd like. So investigators were given access to video footage by the WSU campus in Pullman. A review of that video indicated that approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra, was observed on their surveillance cameras traveling north on Nevada at Stadium Southwest, and at approximately 2:53, which is consistent with the white Elantra, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman towards State Route 270 that connects Pullman to Moscow. All right, so this guy is seen on the WSU footage heading out. It's in the morning. I'm heading back over to Moscow, or at least in that direction. So the forensic examiner identified the observed vehicle as being a 24 to 2016 Elantra. So now we're getting now to a different range of years of a vehicle, which is great. Yeah, I can imagine you are in shock over all this. This is a bad case. Bad case. Poor victims. All right, let's keep going. So approximately 5:25 a.m., white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the suspect vehicle, is observed on 5 cameras in Pullman and the WSU campus cameras. First camera that recorded the white sedan was located on Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson. Johnson leads directly back to the West Polusa River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan then observed turning north into Bishop, northwest on State Route 70, and at 5:27 a.m., white Elantra was observed on camera traveling northbound on Stadium Way, Nevada Street, Grimes Way, Stadium Drive, Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. This is a map of what they laid out. Now, I didn't map it out on my own mapping program because it was just going to take too long to kind of build that out. So this has some different locations that are kind of hard to read. I can totally understand that. But that is the path to travel, and it's obviously not to scale. This is just, they're going to have more of this in their police reports, obviously, because they'll probably do this a more detailed diagram as well, especially for grand jury, so on and so forth. Okay. So let's keep going. It's kind of hard to see, but these white Elantra leaving WSU campus, there's these little marks here that I can't even pretend to show you guys that on the screen because it's hard enough. And this is just a PDF. It's not really a high-res doc that I can zoom into, but we'll talk about that later on as maybe I try to build that out for you guys. All right, so on November 25th, we heard the chief ask for information to be on the lookout for this white Elantra in the area. And then on November 29th, at approximately 12:28, WSU police officer Daniel Tiago queried a white Elantra registered at WSU. Now, I talked about this in that same video about how to find the car, about going to campuses, looking for registrations, looking for cars, looking for parking permits, and searching those databases. So this police officer, Daniel Tiago, heads up dude, knows what's going on, and he's out doing what he should be doing, and he finds this white Elantra registered at WSU. He queries it, and it's a 2015 Pennsylvania license plate, registered to Brian Koberger, and he's got an apartment there in Pullman, Washington. So 1630 Northeast Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. So 3/4 of distance from where he lives to that area where they kind of tracked him with the cameras. So same day at 1 a.m., he's looking for the white Elantra and located a 2015 in the Pullman parking lot. And that is in the apartment complex that houses WSU students. Oops, sorry about that. I'm checking the comments real quick. All right. Sorry, Guys, I'm using a brand new software program. This is the first time I've been live with it, so thank you for bearing with me. All right, Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed his Washington driver's license, obtained a photograph, license plates. License indicates that Kohberger is a white male, 6 foot, 185. Remember the other guy she thought was about 5'10" or whatever. So those descriptions are matching from the guy. All right. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows he has bushy eyebrows. Physical description is consistent with the description that the witness saw inside the residence. That's good. That's very, very good. We're getting down a body type and a range. So this is, remember, affidavit for an arrest, not the report, just enough to tell the judge why I need a warrant. Okay? Further investigation with Latah County Sheriff's Corporal Duke body cam reports showed that Brian Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop in Moscow on August 21st, 2022. So the suspect ever been to the area? Yep. How do we know? Officially, he gets pulled over for in that car. And so he's got body cam footage. The officer asked him his phone number. Now, in Oregon, sometimes we would ask for a phone number, but it wasn't required, and it wasn't exactly required that you put it on the citation. But obviously, this officer did, and he got the phone number with the last four of 8458. Last four of the phone number, all right? So they conducted electronic database queries on that phone number and figured out, this is easy to do, that what carrier that is with based on the phone number. All right, I'm trying to pull some comments here. Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense. All right, so now they got a phone number. Now they got AT&T. Now they're going to start doing a lot of the technical stuff that we were hoping they were going to be able to do, right, with warrants. But they had to kind of get into that area, not just pull every phone number that's ever been into the area, right? So October 14th, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by WSU police officer. Body cam showed he was the sole occupant, 2015 Elantra, same license plate. November 18th, he went to Washington State DMV and gets a plate with a different Washington plate. And prior to that, it was registered in Pennsylvania. So now he's got a Washington plate, which Pennsylvania didn't require a front plate, but Washington does. Idaho requires a front plate, right? So the investigators believe he's still driving that white Elantra because the vehicle was captured on December 13th by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. Now, the video that you guys have probably watched, I'm going to point up here because I'm kind of condensed, but I talked about this in one of my previous videos on how to find this car, that there's license plate readers, the ALPRs, that if you can get a plate that's super golden, because you can upload those into databases. You send that around to all your friends, and anybody that has those license plate readers, that thing will scan 1,000 plates a minute. It just searches for every single license plate. And because the data is on a laptop, like it's pulled down to like a TXT file, so it's not going out and running them through a national database and giving you a return. It's like literally instantaneous, a tenth of a second, literally that fast. It's looking at the TXT file and going, nope, 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 nope. And if it does, beep, it'll give you an alarm, and it'll pull up the picture of the plate that it just scanned. I mean, very, very fast. So you can look at the picture and go, okay, the vehicle's going away from me, or it's going towards me, or it was over in the side parking lot. The camera view will tell you where it's at. So then you can put on the brakes, flip a U-turn, take a right, take a left, and then go on that forth. So that was really good information that they were able to grab that off an ALPR. Because I've used the LPRs and they're phenomenal. All right, so surveillance video showed Kohberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, sole occupant. His description was consistent with Kohberger. Excuse me, remember. Probable cause. Looks like him. Driving the car looks like him. Same dimensions as him. Same height and weight as him. We're just building probable cause for the judge, right? So based on the information provided by the WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student. We kind of knew that he was going there. He had a lot of education, studying forensics and criminology, wrote an essay. We heard about that. He's analyzing data. Probable cause now, still building. Hey, judge, you know what else this guy did? He posted a survey. Hey, Judge, you know what else he did? He did this, Judge. That's what this document is. Keep that in mind. All right. Let's keep going. You guys are talking. Great. Perfect. All right. We're going to keep going. Part of the investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine the cellular devices that utilize cell towers. I think I talked about this on another video, that once they get a warrant, once they start to drill down stuff, they're going to write a search warrant to these cell phone companies. They're not just going to give up the info without a subpoena or a warrant. And now they're going to help because AT&T know where the phone came. That was AT&T. So what he did was he wrote a warrant. He wanted to know cell phone data, the proximity of the cell towers between 3 and 5, the time between the murders. After determining Koberg was associated with both the Elantra and the 8458 number, they wanted to review those phone records to see if he had been in that area. All right. So based on his training experience, I forgot this very important part. A query of that phone number did not show the 8458 number with a cell tower during that time. All right. Excuse me. So, he gets that and goes, dang, between those 2 hours, there's nothing. But then he starts to talking to people, good cop, sorry, I'm going to keep digging. He starts saying that, hey, people that commit crimes turn their cell phones off. They take the SIM cards out. They put it in airplane mode, which criminals commonly do. So he starts thinking, as he should, that it may be possible that he turned the phone off. So then he reapplies for a search warrant and goes, hey, Judge, I need a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th and November 14th. So now he's going a day prior and a day after to see, A, if the phone's been there, B, if he's around the area surveilling the house, etc. So on the 23rd, he received the records for the 8458. Yep. Let's see. Still looking for comments. Sorry, guys. I get bad at comments. I'm trying to get my flow down here still. So, Kathleen, I agree. Overwhelming forensics. And this is just scratching the surface. That's all I'm talking about, guys, is just a probable cause to the judge. Imagine if you're reading this to a judge for him to give you a piece of paper to go arrest this guy. That's what this warrant is. All right, he receives records at 8458 phone number from AT&T and indicate that it is subscribed to Brian Koberger at the address in Albright, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since 2022, June 23rd. It also included historical cell site information for the 8458 number. After receiving this information, I consult with the FBI special agent of that, and he starts looking at some other stuff because this guy's got extensive training. That's what these guys are specifically designed for, and we reach out to these guys all the time for that. Catching up, guys? All right. Thank you guys for being here. Really do appreciate you guys jumping onto the stream and hitting the like button and sharing it and all that good stuff. Appreciate it. All right. So where are we at? I was able to determine the locations from the phone number from the 12th to the 13th time period authorized by the court. So November 13th at approximately 2:42 a.m., the 8458 number was utilizing cellular resources that provided coverage to 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman, Washington. Hereafter is a Koberg. Okay, so 2:42, he's in Pullman. At approximately 2:47, the phone utilized cellular resources that provided coverage southeast of Koberg's residence, consistent with it leaving the Koberg residence and traveling south to Pullman. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. Remember, they have video of different locations of WSU and another place of the vehicle's whereabouts and where it's traveling. So now they're matching vehicle video with cellular data. Judge, guess what? The same time the car's traveling, I've got cell phone pinging. The judge is like, oh, we're starting to get into it now, right? So let's keep going. So at 2:47 phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in the area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or that the phone is turned off. Now, investigators probably traveled that with an AT&T phone. That whole route went, I got 5 bars. You get 5 bars? I got 5 bars. So they can determine pretty quickly if it's a cell phone issue or a dead zone. And I'm assuming that did not happen. So 8458 phone number does not report to the network until approximately 4:48, at which time it utilized cellular resources that provided it on State Highway 95 south of Moscow near Blaine. Between 4:50 and 5:26, the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the iPhone traveling south on 95 to Genesee, Idaho. Then traveling west towards Uniontown, north back into Pullman at approximately 5:38 a.m. It is now in Pullman. It's consistent with the phone traveling back to the Coburg residence, and they're consistent with the movements of a white Elantra that is observed north of Stadium Drive and approximately 5:27 based on the review of the phone. Estimated travel location is consistent with the white Elantra. So now we have phones off, time of the murders, phone comes back on, traveling over, gets into Pullman, Washington later on. Judge, suspect turned off his phone. There's no dead zones. This is consistent with the video we have as well. All right. Yes, correct. And yes, he was wearing black, according to the witness. All right, keep going. Further review indicated that the phone was utilized. It utilized the resources that were consistent with it leaving his residence at 9, traveling to Moscow. This is on November 13th, right? Traveling to Moscow at 9 a.m. All right, so in the morning of the murders at 9 a.m., he's leaving, and then it was used around the King Road residence between 9:12 and 9:21, and also back to Coburg residence at 9:32. So he gets up in the morning, goes there, and then goes back to his residence. So here's a little bit better possible route based on the cellular device location. So it just kind of shows where this route may have been going on the route that he took. All right. Found that the phone did not connect to the cell tower that provided service to Moscow on November 14th, but investigators do not believe it was in Moscow on that date. All right. So they don't think it came back the day after, for what they can figure out. All right. I'm looking at comments real quick, guys. No clothing. Yeah, tell your husband thank you for his service. All right, let's keep going. So they don't believe the phone was there based on his training experience. The facts that investigators so far, I believe that Koberger, the user of the 8458, was likely the driver of the Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, and that is likely suspect vehicle number 1. Additionally, the route of travel during the early morning hours and the lack of the phone reporting AT&T between 2:47 and 4:48, which we know was during the time of the murders, is consistent with him attempting to conceal his location of the quadruple homicide of the King Road residence. So he is now granted a search warrant for the Coburg's historical from June 23rd. Now, June 23rd to current, to see if he had stalked any of the victims, right? If this guy's going to case this house, he's going to be there before that. He's got to be. He's got to get the layout, entrance into the house, exit out of the house, escape routes, run the routes in his car. Where can I get hung up? So on and so forth. So this officer says, I want to know if the guy's been there, and he's been stalking them at all. So he requests a CSLI, and he gets a warrant to see if this guy had come back there at any point in time. So he receives a warrant on December 23rd to receive historical records from AT&T, and he consults with the FBI, their team, the CAS team over there. And he was able to determine estimated locations for the phone from June to the present time. Let's see. I wish there was a way to automatically put these comments up there, but I don't think there is. All right, so let's keep going. He was able to determine estimated locations from the June to the present. And the records for the phone show that they utilize cellular services that provide coverage to the 1122 King Road on these 12 occasions prior to November 13th. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening, early morning hours. 12 occasions, his phone in the area at night. Big evidence. Judge, he's been there before, Judge. At night, 12 different times he's been there, Your Honor. Now, judges log in all of this to issue this. Probable cause. Not a conviction, not overwhelming beyond a reasonable doubt, just probable cause for a warrant. That's what we're talking about here. All these occasions on August 21st, the phone utilized cellular services at approximately 10:34 to 11:35 and approximately 11:37. He was stopped on August 21st by Leda County Sheriff, Deputy Corporal Duke, as mentioned above. And that's consistent with the location of the traffic stop based on that. So now, Your Honor, he was stopped here and his phone was here. This is great for the judge because what he's telling the judge and what he's trying to bulletproof is that somebody else didn't use the phone. Well, that wasn't me. I let my friend use the phone. Actually, you didn't because you were pulled over at that time by the deputy. All of these are just stepping stones and building blocks to lock him into, that's only your phone, you only use it, and you've been stopped a few times with that phone, and we're gonna prove it. Oh yeah, and your car that you drive, that you got on video, the phone's with you at that time. So they're just building more of a case for this guy. Further analysis of the cellular data provided, utilized cellular resources consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman to Lewiston on 195 at 12:36 p.m., and it was utilized on Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston. Video surveillance shows him in the white Elantra, drive past there, consistent with cellular data. Again, I didn't let anybody use my phone. You're in the car. You're in the surveillance. This is your phone. We're just adding to that whole piece of puzzle that we're doing. All right, at 12:46 p.m., utilize cellular data. Video surveillance from Albertson showed him exit the white Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1. And then show him walking through the store, get some items, and leave at approximately 1:04. Possible travel is here indicated in this topographical map. I think it would have been better with a regular map, but this is what they use for the judge. So let's keep going. Additional analysis indicated that between 5:30 and 5:32, it utilized resources in Johnson, Idaho, and then stops reporting for network at approximately 5:36 to 8:30. That's consistent with the phone being in the area of hours immediately following the suspected time of the homicides occurred. So we're talking about 5:32. Yeah. So they're just building more of the case about times and when the phone could be shut off. So on December 27th, Pennsylvania agents recovered trash from the Koberger family residence located in Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to ISP Crime Lab, and they were able to pull a DNA profile obtained from the trash, and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as a biological father of suspect profile. At least 99.99998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the subject's biological father. DNA, once again, they get the trash, they get DNA, they send it to the lab, they compare it with this found beside one of the deceased. Your Honor, the DNA from the father, who we think has been following around and getting evidence on phones and the vehicle that he drives around the area that he came and stalked 12 times before at night. His dad's DNA has a 99.999% match that he's not excluded, and it matches this, Your Honor. They keep on going. So based on the above information, he's requesting a search warrant, and he is granted that search warrant. Wow. Good job, investigators. Now, this is one of the reasons on this channel that I talk about let the evidence speak for itself. There's been thousands of comments, and you guys have probably seen them all over. Maybe even got kind of baited into that about Joe did it, Jack did it, he was hiding in the room. you can't build a case that way. As investigators, we don't build cases that way. It's all built on evidence of what can stand up in court. But a lot of the stuff that people talk about, why couldn't you hear the dog? Well, she could hear the dog. Why couldn't this person hear that? Why could, there's still some unanswered questions, but what I really wanted to walk through the affidavit was, this is just probable cause for the judge, and we're seeing a glimpse of what they have. Now, this is excerpts from all of these police reports. There are going to be thousands and thousands of pages from every agency writing a report. Literally, if I went and worked a case for somebody else, it was like, I need a supplemental. And I would go draw a case number from my agency. What's your main case number? I would draw that. And even if it was one paragraph, I walked to the house at 11165. I interviewed the so-and-so. They didn't have any surveillance, and they didn't have anything to add. Done. That's it. That's the report. It was, everybody writes a report. So there's thousands of pages these guys are going to go over. This is just kind of an excerpt from that. All right. So let's get to some questions that you guys may have. Yeah, Chrissy, I don't know if I knew about that. I don't know if I knew about the DoorDash coming. I mean, there was obviously food on some of the pictures to the windows, unknown when that was, but I don't know if that was part of the DoorDash or not. Let's see, what is this? Have you been in a crime scene or a trauma theater? Yes, I've been in a ton, dozens and dozens. Yes, I ran the crime scene reconstruction team. We went to every fatal crash and every homicide. We went to do the reconstruction on those with detectives. So I have. Yeah, Jack in the Box, Pale. Yeah, that was probably part of it could have been part of the DoorDash. That girl, yes. First officer on the scene, mind blown, right? It's something to walk into a scene like that, to see that much blood. I'm going to talk about a case that I was involved in when I get all of the reports in from my agency, where there was a lot of blood, and I'll talk about that. But blood's got a distinctive smell to it. It's kind of an iron smell that kind of starts to change over time as it starts to dry. But it's got a distinctive smell. Kathleen, don't know. It could be why there's no screams from the victim. It could be the way that the suspect killed them. If you're getting a knife wound on the upper torso, in the chest, or lungs, or neck, that can prevent you from screaming. That could be one of the reasons that didn't happen. But without looking at the autopsy photos and the physician talking about that, it'd be hard to say. But that's my thought. Let's see. Why do you think they didn't call 911 until noon? That's when the 911 came in to Molina. So I'm not sure why they waited that long. Maybe investigators have more on that statement. They're going to have a detailed statement that the witnesses are going to give them. And obviously we're just getting a snippet of the one witness being there, seeing a suspect in the house and given a physical. They needed that physical to match it up with different physical descriptions. So I'm sure there's more that will come out later on about why that didn't happen. But it'll probably come out during trial at that point. Let's see. Were the cops that pulled him and his dad over watching him or told to pull him over? I think that's the question of the hour. If they're trailing, at what point they started to trail the suspect, whether they, obviously they got DNA from dad's house. So at whatever point they started to track him across the country, it could be, hey, if you see this car's coming in, surveil and pull him over. And I did see one of the videos that they pulled him over, and the one dash cam was like pointed at the ground, so that really didn't do much. But the other traffic stop, one of the comments was, he went to the passenger side. Well, we were always taught to go to the passenger side because that's the opposite side of traffic. And if you're going to get into a gunfight or suspect's going to shoot you, he's got to shoot across his passenger and try to get a different angle. So it's actually a safer way to approach a car, because now you have a little bit of a barrier between the driver and yourself. Tactically, with metal of a car, sometimes you get better visual in the back. and then you're obviously away. If this guy bails out of the driver's side and you guys go to fighting, which has happened to me, now you're in a lane of traffic. So passenger side is much better. But he got his driver's license, and what I noticed is that he didn't get insurance or registration, which is common in a normal traffic stop. And you take that back and you verify it. Not only that, you run the driver's license to make sure doesn't have any warrants. So that kind of threw me out that maybe this was a pretext stop just to see, hey, what do they have in the car? What do you see? You see any injuries on his hands, so on and so forth. So who knows? That may come out later on if that was a pretext stop or not. Following too close, that was the probable cause for the stop. I get that. 80% of the people, that's the number one cause of crashes that were in Oregon, were following too close. People think they're at a safe distance, and they're really not. And it's pretty easy to prove based on length of cars and speed, time distance analysis. So it's easy to pull somebody over for following too close and tailgating. So I'm sure that's a good PC stop, especially if he has a camera. Kathleen, well, thank you so much. You're very welcome. I service in the Marines and law enforcement, so I spent my whole life doing that. Yes, that girl, he did not return to his vehicle. No, and sometimes, they have a portable radio, and if guys are being hinky or not really cooperative, I've run the license right there on my portable radio, just standing at the door side, to see if they're clear instead of walking all the way back, because now you're giving them time to maybe get a weapon and so on and so forth. So going back to run him doesn't necessarily need to happen, because dispatch can do it over the radio, but he definitely didn't run him, according to the video. Let's see, Carol, how long will this case be? Whew. Months and months and months and months. They're going to be building this case, and there's a lot of evidence to go over, and probably a lot of forensic stuff to get back to. They're hiring defense experts. Obviously, some reconstructionists are going to the house, so they're going to work up their reports, so on and so forth. So it could be a while. Depending, if Koberger pleads not guilty, then he goes to trial, then it's really going to be a lot longer. Excuse me. All right. Any more questions here? To Molina, I didn't look close enough at the videos to see if he had injuries on his hands. They were, in fact, I just saw the second video this morning. I think the first video didn't have much. The second video was a little bit longer, but I didn't get a real good glimpse at his hands. Hi, BB. Yeah, the statement. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting a witness to actually see the suspect. That was pretty shocking to me as well, that you saw the suspect as he's kind of leaving. Joshua has a comment. Let me try to get you up here, Joshua. Yeah, well, they try to match DNA from the victims to the interior of the Elantra. Absolutely. I think they will. Thank you, True Crime Fallacies, for the super chat. Let's see, I don't know if they've been asked, as a gag order mean they will know nothing until after the trial? Will it be available during? Hey, from Iceland. Oh, man, I've always wanted to go to Iceland. I heard it's so beautiful. I've been a professional photographer for 15 years, and a lot of my friends have gone to Iceland to shoot weddings. I used to shoot weddings and stuff too back in the day, but I always wanted to go to Iceland. But depending on what the order actually reads to talk about the case, they may be able to talk about procedures and stuff like that, but to talk about evidence of the case, that gag order is probably going to be into effect until the judge releases that gag order. They can summons to have that released, but it's in effect until it's lifted. Yeah, back to Joshua. Yes, Joshua, they will try to get DNA to match the victims on the inside, not only just from the victims, but from the house itself. Fibers on the bed, carpets, throw rugs, anything that could have been in that house going around. They're going to have touch DNA if he's going around, and even if he's, kind of wearing gloves, he's got stuff that's coming off of his clothes that's being transferred around. It could fall down in between the seats. So they're going to take that car and they're going to tear it apart. So hopefully they find something in the vehicle that matches to 1122 King Road. Let's just hope that. All right, let's keep going with some more questions. Phil, yes, I went over the PC affidavit. When I get done with this video, it'll be live, so you can go back and watch a little bit. But I kind of went through the whole thing, kind of fast, not real slow for everybody. But I mean, this is going to be out there for a while for you guys to read. I just want to give you my thoughts on what they're talking about here. But thank you for coming. Let's see. You know, Mega, this guy's a killer, and whether he wants the notoriety or not, if he doesn't want the notoriety, he may take a plea deal. I don't know. Who knows? He may be brazen like Bundy was. He may be brazen like the BTK killer was, and like the publicity, and who knows? But he's gonna look at the evidence that's against him. He thinks he outsmarted the police, and he was definitely wrong. Investigators got the upper hand on this one, so I just have to put it together and present it in a well way there to gain that conviction. Yeah, Pale, that's some bushy eyebrows. Now, my wife gets on me too about not trimming my eyebrows all the time as much as I probably should, but they're not bushy. That girl, the knife was easy purchase. It will initiate they're interesting, but sold by someone who had it before. Yeah, you can get these. You can get these on kbar.com. I got it. Mine was in the Marines, so it's kind of beat up. It's been used in the field for years and years and years. But yeah, you can order these right up on Amazon. I'm pretty sure. BB, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for being here. I don't know how to tell on this software how many people are in the chat, but that's wonderful that you guys are here hanging out with me to talk about the affidavit. I'm so glad it's finally out, and we can start to get a little bit of answers to the questions that you guys had and that I had, quite frankly, as an investigator. Yes, Iceland. I'd love to go to Iceland. Why didn't Dylan call 911? Latina. I don't know. Hopefully there's, like I said earlier, Fatina, I don't know if you were here or not, but this is just a kind of a snippet of the reports and the evidence that they got. This is a 30,000 foot level just to tell a judge. And I think the reason they probably put that in there from her was that it wasn't a 5'2", 280 pound woman, right? Or a guy or a certain race or whatever. It was hey, this guy's 5'10" to 6 foot, slim build, this kind of deal. And that starts to match up with Brian and the vehicle surveillance and him getting in and out of it and his driver's license photo and the information that is on there with height and weight. So that's probably one of the reasons they put that in there. But I'm hoping in the report, I'm sure there is, that the investigators wouldn't ask that question and then go, okay, next question is we're going to go talk to this person. They're probably going to have a lot of follow-up questions for her to talk about, what she did after that. Yeah, Steve, I agree with you, man. Leaving the sheath behind, probably in the frenzy of him doing this unheinous act, he probably forgot it, because I think if he thinks he's as smart as he is, that he wouldn't leave that behind, or tuck it in a waistband or something like that where he wouldn't forget it. But he did, and thank goodness he did, because it's going to be part of the demise for him. Oh, Charlie, are you in Sweden? Dude, I definitely want to go to Sweden too. Okay, guys. We possibly hear from the surviving roommates if there's a trial. I would imagine so. They can be called either by the defense or the prosecution. If they think it's going to help their case, then I think they definitely will. See. Any doubt he did it? I mean, listen, they have a lot of evidence against this, as we just read. Prior to today and this affidavit coming out, we were just hoping they had some DNA evidence that linked him to that. But not only did they have some DNA evidence that appears to be linking back to him, and obviously part of this warrant was to get DNA. They'll get DNA from him, and from his apartment that they searched, toothbrush, hairbrush, anything like that's got DNA. They're going to have that already, and they're going to get 100% match. But you have the phone and you have the car and you have the video and all of those other things. There's surveilling of the house. So all of the totality of the circumstances, I think they have a pretty good case. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate that. I appreciate you subbing over here with the Law Dogs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. Fat girl. Yeah. Not that smart. Excuse me. Not that smart if you're going to leave evidence behind. Derek, I appreciate that. This is a new software I'm using and trying to read something and look at comments. You know, it's a little bit new to me, so I appreciate your patience and everybody being here and helping me work through that. I had 3 different things to pull up and my hotkeys weren't working. I don't know why, but I'll get her figured out. Well, death penalty state, right, Kathleen? Yeah, I don't think they're going to take too kindly to plea deals on this. Not at all. Fatina, how easily does a knife sheath come off of a belt? It comes off pretty easily. I mean, this is a big loop. You can see how big that loop. I could probably get you can see, right? So it's not real tight on there. It's pretty big. It could come off the belt super easy. But it doesn't appear that it was on a belt, which was super strange that it wouldn't be. He wasn't wearing a belt and this is on it. And then he wouldn't have to worry about leaving that behind at the scene. So I don't think he had the belt on, or unless his belt fell off and it came off, but I don't know why he's done that. Yes, definitely prayers for the families. Definitely for the families. That girl, you're very welcome. Appreciate you for always being here. And I appreciate all of you. I start to recognize faces and names, so I know who my repeat people are. I appreciate you being here. Let's see. Margaret, good luck on your test. What does it say? Oh, thanks for going through this. Oh, that's somebody else. You're welcome, Margaret. Absolutely. I'm glad I could jump on here and at least walk you guys through this and answer any questions that you guys may have. Derek, according to what I understand, the dad's DNA was not on the sheath. The dad's DNA was found in the trash that they got in Pennsylvania, is my understanding. Yeah, Luke, part of it was redacted. That's for sure. True crime meeting in Iceland next year? Ooh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Hey, there's a Crime Con cruise coming up, too, that's going to the Cozumel, Mexico. I kind of want to go on that and go diving over there and hang out with people. USA Vet. Yes, thanks. I appreciate it. 704. Awesome, man. You guys are wonderful. I wasn't even going to go live today. I was just going to maybe do a video on it, but my wife's like, you should go live. And I said, all right, I'll go live. You got to listen to the wife, happy life, right? Let's see. Any insight into what he would suddenly drive south to Genesis and went into Uniontown, then finally back to North Palm, adrenaline, hysteria, destroy evidence? Holly, man, the high that this guy has at the time of the murders, he, when you're driving along and all of a sudden you miss your turn, you're like, oh, dang, I missed my freaking turn. Because you start to think about, things that happen throughout the day or things you have to do, and you just kind of space out. I'm sure this is going through his mind and why he made these turns that he did. And I'm sure his heart rate is way up, his adrenaline's dumping, he's crashing. All of the above for sure. I mean, I would get that way just in a high-speed pursuit because there's so many things going on and you're driving 100, 130 miles an hour chasing somebody that's committed a felony and maybe shooting at you, so on and so forth. So your adrenaline's just going, and you're trying to listen to the radio, you're trying to guide other cars, and you're trying to watch for pedestrians, you're trying to watch for other cars, you're trying to tell them which way you're going and identify which way you're going. So all these things are going through your mind. It's a full-time job just to control your emotions for sure. Anne, this is not good. Got confronted with a guy with a knife and a Metro rail car. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Anne. That's not good. But yeah, you just froze at the time, and that's what your body just decided to do at the time. It's fight or flight or freeze, right? And that's what she tended to do, I guess. Let's see. Bobby, no, no speculation on the order. That's a forensic thing that I don't have access to, obviously, and that would be, the blood analysis and commingling of blood and whose blood is present on which person. If one person doesn't have blood from the other three, they may be the first victim. And if the second person has blood from only one other person, they may be the second victim. So forensics are going to hopefully determine the order of it, which in this case, quite frankly, doesn't really matter because they were all killed. I think it's more curiosity part of it, but it may be to help to determine who was the target and who was killed first and whether he knew where they were at or not. I don't know, but it's all a forensic thing that I couldn't begin to guess on, but there'll be some evidence of that. Let's see. Cozumel. Yeah, I'd love to go to Cozumel. Yeah, sounds like Dylan was on that second floor bedroom. I talked about this in my video that it was a possibility that, everybody said that the girls were on the bottom floor, and you look at, go to any YouTube video and look at the comments, and there's people that are dating 3-4 weeks ago. They were both on the bottom floor. Nobody was on the second floor. Nobody was on there. And part of my answers to that was, we don't know. We don't know exactly. There's evidence that she may have been in the upper second floor bedroom. So this is why you wait and you don't guess and you don't say with definitive statements there was nobody else on the second floor but them, because anybody that said that were wrong. So you have to wait until you get some of the evidence, which is what this is. And so anybody that said that was wrong. So you can think that they may be there, but you're never going to be positive because we weren't there and we didn't take that statement. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. If that's a true fact or not. It'll be in the police report, obviously, if they think that either one of the people were intoxicated to a point, because it's obviously they're talking to them hours and hours afterwards. Scott, true. He could have had the sheath tucked underneath his pants or, behind his shirt, so on and so forth. It definitely didn't seem like they were on a belt. Verbal, super chat. Sheath next to Maddie. First victim, DNA on button. Yes, the sheath was on the bed where they both were located, and the DNA was on the button. First victim, don't know. We don't know at this time, and investigators haven't said that, and we're not going to know because they're under a gag order not to talk about that anymore. So we're not going to know what that is until probably start time of trial or anything else comes out after that. But we don't know if she was the first victim. We just know that it was laying next to them on the bed where they both were killed. Justice for the victims. Yes, William. Yes. And your house floor plan video, Johnny Law, was the single most factual, informative thing I viewed on all the YouTube footage on this case. Thank you, Ann. It wasn't a 3D diagram, but to my mind, it flowed pretty well, and it just seemed to make sense on that and talk through it kind of live and move stuff around and draw on it. So I do appreciate that. Do I think the phone being off will be a problem? Actually, I don't. Because what they're doing is they're putting it on the opposite ends of the spectrum, where it was on, traveling, video, off during the killings. Oh, all of a sudden now it's on, still traveling. They know that the route where those were on and off, there's no, probably no dead spots as far as cell phone coverage. They'll probably test that out. And so that will be a definitive piece of the case. And then they're going to testify on previous cases that they worked where that is indeed the case, that they've had people shut off the phone or take out the SIM card or put it in airplane mode. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think because they've done it on both ends, they're going to be fine. Yeah, Lou, saw him in a mask. I'm crazy. JF, well, thanks so much. I appreciate the diagrams. Anybody hasn't watched it, it's one of my previous videos, has a house on the front. And I kind of walk through the house and talk about where potentially victims may and may not be able to hear. Yes, definitely keep those prayers coming for the family. Let's see, what is this, Ann? They must have been sweating their surveillance. All the accused, this perp, whoever gets convicted is obviously volatile and dangerous. Super volatile and dangerous. Yes. Kate, can I see them doing the trial outside of Moscow for jury bias? Yeah, I could see that. I could see them requesting that not be done. There may be a defense to it because it's not like it's just a local case where nobody knows anything about it. I don't care what jurisdiction you go to. It's going to be well known. But the defense is probably going to try to petition to get that somewhere else. But I don't know anybody. Obviously, we have people here from Sweden and Iceland, UK, that know about this case. So it's going to be tough to dodge and find a person that doesn't know anything about this case. So I'm sure they're prepping for that right now. Natasha, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. All right, guys. I think that's all the comments I have time for. I did want to thank you all for being here and jumping on the live stream and going over the affidavit and asking your questions. Thank you so much once again. If you want to watch some of my other videos, I have them posted up here. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Share this video, and I will see you when I figure out how to end this live stream. Okay, guys. Thank you so much, and take care. All right. Have a great week.